and team swap sides. We can already see that, well, speaking of comfort, OMG won't get a couple that we expect them to get.
Yeah, so OMG changing it up in terms of getting Jerry in there, but now they'll be on the red side. We see FPX ban away. Obvious comfort that we've seen. Cream gets his Corky banned away. Shanji gets his Shyvana banned away. And then we also see Abel Samir banned. On OMG's side, the typical picks of the litter here, at least in this LPL meta we have going on right now. The Kalista banned away. A lot of that aggression in bot lane. The Zeri, a lot of scaling option in that factor, taken off the board.
Oh, and a Nah ban as well. I was going to say.
He's like, I don't get my Shivani. Shivani?
Shivani.
You don't get your Nar Summit. But they insta-lock in the Sylas.
The first big Sylas is kind of rare. I was expecting maybe something like an Ari or even a Galio I'd compensate for FPX, but with the first big Sylas here, you do give quite a lot in the bottom lane if they want to give Abel and Jerry comfort, right? Like, Kalista's not available, but Renata's there. We've also got the Aphelios, which would be a nice takeaway from LWX, but instead,
let's go.
Cream back on Akali. Let's hope this is the start of something brilliant.
That's what I was saying, man. There's no way that this man just handles you like he just did in taking the Akali, and you don't have something to say after that. If you don't, then I don't know what you're doing in competitive League of Legends, because Shanji whips out the gauntlet, says it's Akali time, baby. We get the Aphelios, though, a little bit of safety down there in the bottom lane for Abel. But guess what pick is still on the board is the Lee Sin that enabled a lot of the victory from game number 1.
Yeah, it was Klid's best. On the other side, I just want to note that when you're playing solo queue and you get beaten by a champion, like, man, that champion looks strong. Then you go back and you're like, I'm going to start playing this. And it was like me with, I think, Ashe support. I stopped playing it for a while. Someone manhandled me with it. And then I've been playing it again ever since. And it just feels so great. So let's hope Cream has that.
You were going to pull out the whole it never feels the same as when you're going against it. I was like, maybe.
No, that's only Yasuo. That's Yasuo and Yone.
Oh, yeah.
That's a high skill cap. But, hey, Summit gets GP. So this has just been a complete miss from LWX and Hung, considering they don't want to pick up bot. They don't really care. They are going to get themselves a bit of global priority with Summit's GP. And more so, some pretty strong lanes here to kick off their second game.
Yeah, we've seen a rise in priority of Poppy across the world, and OMG will be piloting it this time around for Aki. So a little bit of more, I guess, separation that could be possible in terms of, the keeper's verdict and a lot of the forward mobility that you have for the Poppy. But now we're in the second phase of bans. We see the Nautilus banned away against FPX. So heavy focus for OMG in the second phase towards bottom lane, rightfully so, as that's the only picks left on the board.
I feel like with Poppy Aphelios, I mean, maybe it's worth banning Renata. Hey, I got to respect the Rumble target ban towards Shanji. What he debuted into the league with as well, or at least one of his first games, has been really great and would make a lot of sense with Poppy on the roster too, with Akali on the side. At this point, though, I was coming back to it because I feel like for OMG, Jerry is someone who played Nami back with Lucian Nami when Abel and him didn't have the greatest of lanes, but yeah, there's that Renata ban that I wanted to see gone. I'm glad they take that away. It feels like it is still just one of the best 2v2 lanes at the moment when Kalista's banned. So let's go, Mazel. Let's see if they take away support here. Maybe something that follows up on the engage. Or what else? What else do you reckon? You've also got a brain. Bigger one than me.
It's not very wrinkly, though. It's not very wrinkly. Wow, the Gwyn. A pick that kind of has fallen through the cracks a little bit here, but will be whipped out by Shanji. And we've seen the horror stories that the spinstress can have with those scissors, but it's an insta lock-in of the Senna Tahm Kench, a terrifying bot lane. It is actually insane how powerful Senna has been in unlocking bottom lanes now.
Oh, I mean, it's such a good 2v2 people don't expect, right? And you also play with range as well as center as the game goes on. And I like this from FPX. I feel like for Care, let's just start with the ults to steal. Keeper's verdict. I feel like Wild Growth is one maybe you see. Probably the perfect execution is one we're going to see the most. So he has a couple of options here. And skirmishing for FPX looks really good at the 6 mark, right? Like the tools available globally with GP ulti, with Senna Dawning Shadow as well as there. I think for FPX, like, they have themselves really strong mid-game as well that can provide threat on any of these side lanes. While for OMG, like, you set yourself up to, I don't know.
It's mid-jungle. It's literally mid-jungle.
It's like a takeaway.
If Cream is going to appear, it's now.
Yeah. It's got to. Like with Akali, if you give away your pride on this champion when Care just destroyed you on it, I don't know what's going on with Cream this split. This is his best. This is his best champion, apart from maybe the Yasuo, which we've seen a couple of times. For OMG, more so comfort, and even seeing the Poppy picked out is something that's become a little bit more relevant. I like it into champions like, Lee Sin, Silas as well, Abscond, Abduct, and Safeguard, even Q can be stopped by the Steadfast presence. And more importantly as well, that ulti's going to have a lot of value when your team is looking forward to the setup from GP, from maybe Senatama as well around objectives, and you can kind of just walk in and pinch it off from them as well.
But I feel like this is actually a pretty good response from OMG in terms of what happened in game number 1, right? We saw a lot of control come through the priority that FPX had gotten early on in the game, and that led out to a decent gold advantage that FPX just kept bleeding into, or at least bleeding out of OMG. But this one in particular, it's the OMG Aki Cream bridge into the late game. Gotta get Abel and Shanji into a point where they can actually carry the game. And all eyes on Cream, all eyes on the mid lane as FPX versus OMG. Game 2 kicks off.
Let's see, because Bloodthirsty was game 1? No, not really. A couple of big fights, but it wasn't as bloodthirsty as we kind of expected.
For dragons,
from OMG
it was
FPX.
bloodthirsty. If you're if you're a dragon person, maybe I would say that you feel a little bit aggressed on.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, well, there was a bit. There's a bit, but not as much as I kind of expected. And I feel like this game might be a bit more amongst the weeds. For OMG, as you said, mid-jungle. Looks pretty good here. I would also say that, bot could be a bit snoozy after we get past that level 2 stage. Senatom, you're also alluding to, has surprising damage. And that's that's the thing. People forget about Tahm Kench, right? His level 1 is insane. Tongue Lash base damage is relatively high. And with Ignite and Senna being able to help with sustain plus trade through the minion wave, it's kind of pog to see LWX and Hung, pilot this. So we'll keep an eye on the bottom lane and see if any shenanigans happen there. But for now, Mazel, just getting through the early laning phase and waiting till that level 6 point, I think is crucial for mid-jungle too, with all the tools that come available for both these teams.
Yeah, it is, but that's where I'm also looking at Clid, see if we get any of that aggressive pathing,
my God.
right? He started off on his chickens. Meanwhile, Cream and Care taking a lot of damage in mid lane. He started on his chickens, went straight to his blue buff. So Clid's got a little bit of finickiness going on in his path right now. We'll keep check on
Cream.
that. But
Cream needs to run.
Yeah, he really does. Care's just getting that level 1 advantage.
He has Flash. He has Flash W.
He's got level 2 now as well. I don't know if, okay, Cream finally gets it. I thought Care
3,
might pull the trigger
2,
on that one.
1. He's got Abscond Abduct again, Mazel. That's what I'm waiting for. He doesn't need Ignite here if he lands the second part of E. Cream is now out of energy as well. That's why I'm just on the edge here. But he's not going to pull the trigger. The minion wave's coming in, so maybe Cream will be okay for now.
Ooh, Shanji taking the worst end of the trade against Summit there in the barrel discrepancy. Aki up here to stem the bleeding a little bit, though, as an early path will get him behind and not spotted out by Summit. So Summit, if he takes a little bit of aggression, this could be a nice capitalization from OMG, but he's just going to start his back and play up a little bit.
I mean, Shanji's pushing him back so that the fog of war completely goes over the brush. So I really like the movement here from the top laner of OMG, but Summit right now has the wave pushing against him. There's not much Aki can do, and so he ends up backing away. Summit as well, as you mentioning, really good trading already coming out here against Shanji. But remember that this is an Ignite TP top. Like, Gwen does not have Flash. Shanji all in for the lane right now, and he's already doing really well to make sure that he gets revenge for the last game, because he got bullied out on the Shyvana last game, and Summit absolutely clapped him. As I need to pause because Clid and Care are going on a bit of a journey.
They spotted out that the blue buff is still there for Aki, and they realize the Scuttle Crab fight might take place here, but OMG have the advantage as their bottom lane has moved up first. So Aki will be the first one to get the Scuttle Crab treat.
Woo! He's walking straight up, wants to get double, but I'm not sure how he can get it without bot side, because at the moment, I'd much favor
Shanji pushing.
Yeah, I'd favor Care as Cream walks back in, Mazel.
Clid comes in too. Cream, you gotta be careful. Clid doesn't pull the trigger on it just yet. Can't find it. Aki is forced to come back from his aggressive pathing, and Care goes right back in for the trading, realizing he has the Kingslayer to heal up.
It's a mid 2v2.
They really want Cream, man. They really want him.
Just try to push out the waves to get Prio and then move on. It does mean that as Clid goes bot side, hang on.
Oh my god! He's got the Ignite down, but Care has the safeguard used onto him by Clid. Cream doesn't have help, but Care does.
I feel like with the Ignite down as well, you feel a lot more confident as Care. He has TP to get back to this lane. As he makes the back as well, look at where the minion wave is too. So it feels like right now, I would say benefit as Cream can't get the kill. It was time to reset anyway here for Care. He's got Lucidity and he's just TP'd back. So a long walk here. While meanwhile...
Oh, Clid, I don't know why. I mean, hey, Jerry gets the help and Aki comes in to punish Clid's overextension.
Well, on the board for Jerry. That's what matters in the end, dude. That's what matters.
There you go, Jerry. There you go.
I thought Clid's just going to back. Like, you look at that play and you're like, Clid's just going to be a nuisance. Nothing to see here is... What are we looking at in the bottom right, Marcel? Okay.
So
Ignite.
I guess this is just the trading that came down in the bottom lane. That's why they were both like 1/3 health. But yeah, the trading back and forth in all these lanes, a lot of skirmishing in the mid lane. Also, I don't know if this is or maybe I'm stupid, but Aki has the Hex Flash on the Poppy. I love that. I think that's going to be so fun to keep watching at this point. But Abel, Jerry pushing up in bottom lane. You got the constant aggression between Cream and Care. And at this point, all eyes on Clid and Aki's next moves.
Yeah, I think Clid especially, right? Care's about to hit level 6. And if he does before the Akali, it could be bad news. As we watch this again.
Jerry.
Clid
just like, I just don't like Clid. Just not expecting the flash.
Oh, here we go.
Man, every time. And with the burst that both these guys have, it's such on the edge that it's just constant chaos. Both hitting level 6 at the exact same moment as well. Aki's here. Clid is still in mid lane. The percentage proximity of mid lane is going to be very high for both jugglers.
Oh, this game especially. I mean, that's about 40 seconds in total that we would just watch Aki and Clid babysit. But... that's flash down. Cream in that last play, burning flash, not having the Ignite for another minute too. Could be a big window as Care steals the ulti and resets yet again. The wave's pushing up against his favor though, so I just have to watch what he loses mid. While, yeah, Aki's pathing is what you're looking at, hey.
Yeah, he's got the needlework going for Shanji on the aggression, but
Hex
flash over the wall.
Whoa!
Nice flash from Summit. Break in the ankles, and now the Cannon Barrage coming through. He wants to play the aggression. This is a 1v2, and he's feeling confident.
That trigger was perfect. Like, Summit could not have pressed it. In fighting games they have pixel perfect. That was one of those moments for Summit in top.
That was actually incredible. I kind of hope we get a replay, even if like nothing really crazy happened in terms of like bloodiness.
Yeah.
Man, Summit's really bringing it to the table this time around.
What was C9 feeding him, dude? I don't know, but literally FPX have obviously kept that regime as Care spotted out on a ward going towards the top side. No, he still spotted on the control ward. He was 100%.
Yeah, true.
The pings came down. The pings came down as Shanji stays in lane, but
he tried to be sneaky. He loses the perfect execution as well, so we'll have that one to go for. Keeper's Verdict is there for Aki. Now they're level 6. Get a little bit of that trigger pool availability there for OMG.
Yeah, okay, there's a replay. Yeah. So, a really nice control ward location here from OMG. And with that spot out as well, I mean, Shanji just wastes his time. He comes back to lane, and Care wasn't able to use the perfect execution from Cream, but Cream has his up and available. So even though there is a summoner difference, Cream actually has the Ignite back up and available, meaning that this could be good Tucker if they're able to make something happen. But junglers are going top instead.
You were calling out my phrasing earlier. What does that even mean?
Tucker, like Bushman, you go into the bush and Tucker's dinner time. Or, like whatever you can find. Maybe eat a frog Abel.
Is Abel a Tucker? I don't know at this point. Jerry is locked out. The Moonlight Vigil comes back out. The Devour was there to save LWX from a lot of the damage front-loaded. Abel needs to back away, and that Senna Tom Kench combo is showing why it's so strong. But OMG take that moment, take the Rift Herald.
I mean, with pushing them away, it does mean that maybe some plating can come through here. Abel is able to heal off the Grump, so I could be wrong, but hey, that's a win for OMG after, seeing Care coming back to lane. Cream holding some kill threat. FPX are going to try and make a dive in the meanwhile here. Better late than never.
Wild Growth going to be stolen, maybe? Abel's just stuck under the... Jerry was like, I'm leaving, but he turns back just to watch Abel die under tower.
All those memes using the Seinfeld music, bump, bump. Jerry walks away, cue the music. Abel's dead, and look, that's going to set up Care on the board, but Aki is going to try to do the same thing in reverse right after Herald.
He's going to flash, I know it. Yep, he goes for it. He's like, Summit, you ain't getting away from me this time. You might have flashed the other engage, but this time you don't do it. You don't have it, and Aki gets the kill.
Something about Poppies in the LPL is just hitting different. Like, even Tarzan has had his 2 best games of the split on this champion, and Aki is suddenly alive. As Shanji, no, he's not going to die, folks. He's close, but not going to die. But, you know, you knew Aki was on the top side. However, you didn't know that he'd be sticking around for that long, that he didn't back and start heading towards bot, you know, maybe to continue his clear. Because Herald was done like a minute before that, Mazel. So I don't really blame Summit for getting caught out, but he did have an inkling. You know, he thought, all right, well, I'm going to start walking away, but still gets caught in the end, which is great for this top side that is now 20 CS ahead, and kind of feels like for OMG, it's going to be a huge side lane win condition as this game goes on.
It absolutely is. And I will say for me, I'm looking where Aki's going to use this Ripped Herald. I would really like to see more resources dumped into Cream because that mid lane is such on a knife's edge. If you give a little bit of resources one way, it could completely tilt. So yeah. I would love to see that, but it does, you know, getting a little bit passing down towards bottom lane for Aki. Meanwhile, Cream rest on in mid lane as we've seen all game long.
Just another push. I mean, Clid and Care, you know, must be going out for hot pot afterwards and, you know, having these, like, going to bars and stuff and chilling out. They're obviously friends on the Rift, too. There's been a lot of proximities you already alluded to before, but I'm more interested in Aki at this point because I think Aki right now is having the better jungle game. This Poppy has been switched on and, you know, set up in front of the next dragon alongside the OMG vision that has been tracking FPX so well. It feels like they do hold the cards to set up for the second objective and maybe even look for a good timed gank if he can get his way into this mid lane or even bot.
It's actually crazy to me when you look at the vision game, right? Like, it's literally all OMG at this point, and a lot of it is around this dragon pit. But
help me!
Clid try to save Summit. At least Shanji is going to be down for the count. One more auto attack, and Clid gets the kill. Summit just there smiling as he goes down.
Yeah, almost does though, right? Shanji was pretty close here. However, maybe with the Ignite would have been a different story, but going down is huge because Shanji doesn't have TP. Aki's going to come up at the plating as Hex Flash comes over. Clid cancels the back against the wall. Does Aki have enough as the flash is there? The Dawning Shadow! The Dawning Shadow from LWX. Mazel, I'm sorry, I'm play-by-play.
It's okay, it's okay. We're here having a good time. Aki, he tries so hard. He just doesn't have the damage. He's just a poor little Poppy. And can't get anything. I love the full commit from FPX, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize, like, well, hang on a minute. I'm not calling this game. I'm just
here. Hey, I'm here for it. I am still one that thinks we should one day develop, and the further adaptation of casting is double play-by-play.
Dude,
you know,
they used to
cast, it's double play-by-play one color.
They used to. In 2016, when they introduced TriCast, right, as we look at the replay, it was actually double play-by-play in color for about a year.
We need more hype, Asterix. We need more hype.
One day, let's see. I want a quadcasters. I want to point out on that play, that was just nicely played from Summit. The ult turnaround as well. Still a great play as even the return gank. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did indeed. Hey, Herald's going to be mid though, and you said, you know, the volatility of mid is big, and with Herald being placed down from Aki, that does mean that Cream gets some much-needed gold after, you know, he's even in CS, but the kill difference for Care feels like it's making that item difference as he's a little bit closer to picking up that Everfrost or that first item.
So we see Aki in front of the pit right now, in front of the dragon. Would be first dragon for OMG. It's started up now, but Clid is here. They have priority in bottom lane. They're bringing Cream down from mid lane, though, so the numbers game could go in favor of OMG. It's like FPX realized they could be fighting off a little bit more than they can.
It's such a good play that OMG, you know, not full committing first, right? Aki doesn't have the ultimate for another 10 seconds, so timing window is a bit of a luxury here, and for OMG, after baiting it off and going back on, they get the dragon, so it is going to be one apiece.
Ocean.
Yeah. Well, Clid's still sticking by Mazel. I'm more curious about this gank.
Clid has been so ingenious with his movements here. The Devourer, Abel's in trouble here. He gets kicked and not dragged down. The Wild Growth healing and the Keeper's verdict to save the day. Now Clid is alone, but LWX is here to help him out. Cream has made his way all the way down here, but immediately backs away, realizes they don't need to go in.
And also Care was on the way. It would make it a 4v4, but a 4v4 with the Silas who just backed away very conspicuously to what you would think pick up his first item, and he has. It is actually going to be the crown as well, so an item difference there, and OMG still playing well as he gets on top of Cream, but it's still going to be trading. Mazel, look at the item difference actually across the board. We have our first mythic out of Poppy, out of Aki in the jungle, but triple item there, even 4, as Summit has now just picked up Trinity Force. FPX are first here, despite the gold being neck and neck.
Just how they utilize that, right? I mean, they have a lot of scaling aspects. We've already talked about how scary the Senna Tahm Kench can get in the 2v2, but let alone the idea of Senna is that she will be terrifying in the late game. She has the infinite scaling of the essences, so you'll have to keep a watch out on LWX and Hung. And again, it just seems like FPX are playing to their strengths, exactly how they want to do. They have aggression and mobility and forward, at least momentum in the top trio, and then they have the roundabout carries coming in the bot duo.
Because I feel like as the game goes on, like, to me, right, you know, I'm still learning. Shout out to our color casters of the league. I feel like I've absorbed a lot.
They do such a good job. Oh my god.
Yeah, and you know, listening to them and how they would talk about this comp, I feel like sitting here, I go, well, you know, we see scaling elements on both sides, but the biggest thing to me is how the fights play out later. Like Shanji in a side lane, like a 5-6 item Gwen, I'd be confident about. Ignore Hunk for now. He's just setting up for LWXs. Yeah, I'm still going to keep talking. I honestly just think it's like, okay, well, for OMG, their tools are a lot more reliable. Like, think about how Akali reacts with his composition is, hang on.
Shanji tried to take the blue buff. Flid took it from him. He's doing some serious work with the needlework, but gets it right back from Care.
I mean, it's Riftmaker picked up from Shanji, more items coming across the board, but as I was saying before, Mazel, I mean, I feel like it's how OMG's comp interacts. And a lot of the time, if I looked at FPX approaching an objective, I'd be like, well, GP doesn't have setup. You know, Senna Tahm have to walk through. Look at all the tools from OMG to pull out Devour, like Tahm Kench ulti, the Stolen Silas ulti as well, maybe even Kick might be for disengage if they're not the ones first on the objective. That's kind of my 2 cents here from what I understand. So I think for OMG, I'd much rather, you know, like favor them later on just because of how the setup is. With Poppy, you know, with Akali coming from an angle, while OMG can just run it forward, while FPX for me are like, well, maybe it's better picking off the side pieces and using the globals rather than taking a full 5v5 where you don't have setup on the objective first. You're not there on the objective first.
Yeah, and I will say, you know, OMG, picking how they're playing it right now, it is the trio of Aki, Abel, and Jerry in the mid lane, and they're using the singular strengths of the Akali at least, and creaming the side lane, and then you also have the Gwen for Shanji. So there's very different ways to kind of approach these next few minutes. We did see the second Rift Herald used in mid lane for OMG, and they were able to, you know, get a little bit more there for themselves, but that's really the big objectives. Now you're looking at Barons, now you're looking at the rest of the Dragons here, and we've seen how much the objectives mean to both these two teams in the series so far.
Yeah, and the fact it's an Ocean Soul again as well, I mean, it's going to be a fun one to battle out because both these teams, you can see, like, fights can go long. You know, there's a lot of burst potential, but also it's like there's a lot of resetability. I'm talking about Akali, Silas, Gwen as well, right? Not that long of an ult CD the later the game goes. GP2, probably the biggest burst member, let's be real. But playing with Rage later game, Abel versus LWX. This is the perfect dragon to highlight this game where OMG try and come back and end their loss streak, Mazel. And yeah, you're talking about the Visionless River 35 seconds before Dragon.
They are trying to get in, though. They have the push in mid lane, 30 seconds, a little bit early, it feels like, as we do get the final back coming through from Cream. He has finished the Night Harvester here as the first item for the Akali, so you'll get a lot of that damage profile coming in now. And you can expect, when we see OMG push it up heavy in mid lane, they want to contest for this objective, but Summit is on the flank. Hung goes in with the Abyssal Dive. The barrels actually don't connect on the initial engage, even if the Cannon Barrage is already used. FPX uses that priority to move back into the vision game in front of the Dragon Pit.
I mean, everything's up and available. Abel will have his flash up too. With no Cannon Barrage, for FPX, maybe it's a tool that they sorely need.
Keeper's Verdict. There it is. Yeah. Oh, they're going in right afterwards. The needlework on top of everybody here as OMG. Cream is on the back. Abyssal Dive plus the Devour. LWX gets out, but here comes Cream. He goes out immediately afterwards, though, as he does get pushed away. Does OMG chase it down Care? The Dawning Shadow gets golden under. The Dragon Rage kick not enough, and Care goes down. They're trading it back, though. He still gets some of that scale and aspect. Fled is pulling out the stops here as they're chasing down OMG on their way back to the Dragon Pit.
but it's only a 1 for 2. Aki is the one with Smite, though, so Clid has a chance to steal as OMG try to drag this one out, Mazel.
I mean, Clid could just wait and go into the pit and take the dragon, and he has the Smite, but Cream wants to stop that. Cream is trying to show up. The dragon goes over to OMG, and so do the kills. Cream goes down, but Abel is popping off. He's got himself a double kill. The true carry for OMG.
And I feel like this is what I was talking about for OMG, Mazel. The tools they have in their arsenal, even this early on, force out so much from FPX as we watch here again. I mean, Aki first, okay, he sends it over, so it's a 4v4, and now suddenly, 5v4, and then Cream. This is what I was mentioning with the Akali. Straight away, the Devour comes out. He has to disengage, and Cream is just forcing FPX to scatter, while Cream on the other side, I mean, this is not lined up very well. As he flashes away, goes golden, LWX with the ulti, but it's not going to do anything here to the Sylas, who was already in stasis, so we roll this forward a little bit more, and it was a good attempt from Clid considering there's no Smite, but Cream once again, this Akali pick feels so good against the FPX comp. Like, you just see him walking away. Okay, Cream's going to die, but Dragon goes to OMG. That's a win in my books, especially since Abel gets that snipe in the end, as Mazel, OMG are also in line with gold, up an objective too. Might be the turret going down, but I still feel like you're happy as that one as an OMG fan.
You're happy that Cream is here. He's present. He's in the game. The Akali is a threat to be dealt with for FPX because, as we saw, that aggression makes it to where they can't just have the easy decision-making. And talking about aggression, Aki's got the flank. They're getting TPs in as well. Shanji's here. But the rest of the fight after that Keeper's Verdict was stolen is a little bit more difficult. They're TPing in now as FPX feeling confident to take the fight. They need to be very, very careful, though. Summit is now in here, but Cream is on the back, and now OMG are moving forward. Abel is ripping him apart, and Cream is going forward. He connects everything. He's trying to take him down. One more barrel chain is there. The kickback from Kled isn't enough. Abel's healing up now as well. OMG, they're so scrappy, and they've already taken 2 of FPX.
Abel, you absolute baller, does it again. Him with Gale Force can always be a risk. And I feel like Clid kicked looking for the execute, but misjudged the damage. Either way, you got to respect it here. As you say, Mazel, OMG are loving the scrap in this game. And I love that they're playing this comp so damn well, hitting these jungle fights. And every single time we get in a choke, just watch Aki on this Poppy. Like, there's so many tools. This is what I talked about. Hung
I had
as a
no idea
catch.
until the last second.
Like, the angle perfect, the ulti there. Once again, Hung has to ult and get LWX out. As they try and reposition, the next big problem is like, okay, where's Cream? Can FPX fully commit? Okay, we are going to fully commit. We've TP'd in. Care jumps forward, and just like that, they have to get past Poppy. They have to deal with the Assassin Akali. Shanji is also a massive nuisance. It's like grandma with a pair of scissors, you know, wanting to give you a kiss. She's 80 years old, and you're like, oh my God, grandma, do not run with sisters. People are that scared of Shanji at this point as well.
And the fact that we saw, like, just the immediate aggression in FPX also, like, continued to follow it up to some extent. And their willingness to go into that fight made it where OMG could capitalize so heavily. And also, Care stole the Keeper's Verdict, made it a 4v3 or a 5v3, and they still couldn't find the advantage in that fight.
Yep. I mean, he's not having as impactful game as he did in game 1, Mazel. This time, it is about Cream on this Akali. Might be 0-1 and 5, but hey, we get to see the Cream game we wanted to see, and we've now seen 2 Akali games of absolute pop-off from these mid laners.
Yeah, it's a nice time to be racking up those highlight reels. Care and Cream. Clid tries to go for the quick play, but the Gale Force, a quick response from Abel.
So, Mazel, you know what we're looking for next? Dragon's coming up. And I want to do a quick summoner check because flashes are down for Cream and Abel, but should be available by the time we get towards that. LWX the same, but remember he still has Hung. I kind of want to see what Summit and Care can do in this fight. Maybe start off with a pick because every single time OMG are just running in, finding the engage, and these fights are going long as Clid starts it off.
He found Abel, no flash, no availability, and that is a doom send for OMG in towards this next dragon.
Mazel, I didn't want to say I was right, but what did I say 20 seconds ago? FPX
you were right. You got wrinkles on that brain, Astairs. You got wrinkles.
I thought it was smooth, but no, we're upgrading from 3 to 4 at this point. I see FPX with the pick, and yeah, it's 20 seconds till Abel comes up, but at the very least, as OMG start off Baron, I don't know about this play.
I don't know about that one. It's a little, I mean, it's a Gwen and a Poppy. I don't know how that one's going to go, but it is Dragon going over to FPX, and that'll be second Dragon of the game, tying up those Dragon neutral objectives.
But the pick works out well, coming back to the point. You know, FPX, the jungler cleared, set that one up for success, and because of that, you know, the Dragon win condition where they kind of have to force themselves into OMG's comp is not there. We need to see Summit care, get some more items across the board. I feel like especially Summit, right, who seems to be going for that Ravenous build once again. I just hope we don't see the muddle of, you know, those other 3-4 items. There's been some confusing GP builds. I'm talking to you, LCK, as replay Mazel. This was slick.
But this is the difference maker. This can literally make the game go from night to day for FPX, right? Just one catch out on the Abel.
And the timing. Jerry backed right as Clid came around, so it's not like, oh, Wild Growth, Shirelia's, Abel probably fine, you know, burns the Summoner because he's okay. Then OMG can approach the Dragon. It's, you know, at the nick of the moment here from Clid, as he now has a bounty around his head as well. More Malmortius picked up Mazel. He's 2 items strong, but I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that we have a Kraken on that bottom laner. You know, normally it's Eclipse. Normally we do get Eclipse, and I've been casting a bit of PCS, you know, I've been here and there in between LPL. I don't know if this is our first Kraken in the league, but I just know that at very least, it is a change from what we've seen in the past couple of patches.
And I think it's a good adaptation here. A little bit more sustained damage, especially against the front line of Aki, Shanji. A little bit of the tankiness that Cream's going to be rocking here with some of the armor items that he's able to pick up. But I do want to see how this pans out. That damage potential is really going to be there, and how FPX continue to pilot, because we did talk about a lot of the scaling nature for both these two teams, but it's the catch-outs that will mean so much, and Aki was looking for the catch-out on the LWX.
But
look at the Sinner damage.
Oh
it's actually
God,
ridiculous. And the cannon barrage down. That's Wild Growth and Keeper's Verdict.
That's a lot burned. Aki doesn't die, which is crucial. And LWX staying at full HP. I mean, they burn the jungler off. He's got smite, but I think more for FPX, it would have been a great pick. Dawning Shadow, Cannon Barrage, in front of Baron. I still don't know how confident you feel on this one. However, Aki has backed alongside Jerry, so FPX will at the very least get vision and starting up the Baron. Mazel, I'm always sketchy on these.
I'm always here for it, though, Hysterics. We got flashes across the board. We got OMG flooding in. Cream is trying to be some aggressive nature here. Just try to separate some of that damage. Abel's running here. TP's coming in. The Baron has been pulled off of by FPX because they realize what could be happening. But it's a bait. They're TPing in. Summit will be able to be here. The Baron goes over to Abel from OMG, but FPX are looking to take the fight afterwards. Abel, nice separation of the line. The Chakrams doing serious work, and OMG want to find it, but they overextend. Shanji's got a needlework in the back here. They're sustaining so much, but Care tries to find the edge. Doesn't find it exactly, and OMG back away. Flashes bird, but it's still coming out on top with the Baron buff.
Thanks for the leash, though. Like, really, OMG with a big old clap towards FPX. The fact it doesn't reset goes down to Cream. He jumps in the pit, Mazel, and he keeps Baron aggroed. Like, so clutch from this mid lane of this game. However, the turnaround, we're starting to see what Summit can do when he has a bit of space and when he has himself the angle over the wall. I'm so surprised Cream didn't die in the end. We look at this replay. Go back on this, right? Okay, Hung jumps out. Cream over, auto attack. You can see that Abel and Shanji are focused on, well, one focused on moving in, Abel focused on zoning, but as a good ult in return from Care comes out, it is Abel who picks it up with his range, and we don't get to see the rest of the fight, but FPX started to turn the play, and I was looking at Summit mainly, who now has the Ravenous Hydra, so 3 GP build here. It seems to be a bit of a new trend. They are getting strong, Mazel, but as we can see, once they back off the objective, they then have to pace their way back in slowly, and it kind of comes down to what Care steals an ulti, and I think stealing away Arkies most of the time has been beneficial to give FPX the space they need to maybe turn the play.
And we have multiple carries now for OMG on 3 item spikes here as Shanji has completed his. We got the IE completion for Abel, so a lot of strength there. They have the Baron buff. This is going to be lasting damage against FPX. They still have 1 minute and 10 seconds on the Baron buff.
Okay, that's going to be a big play then. 2.8 gold already taken from this single players. Care's going to be pushing top lane. But for OMG, I mean, they just force down mid here. You don't have to worry, especially with Arki's ulti setting it hung away. Inhibitor turret's going to go down. Clint is going to try and stop the minion wave, but OMG,
he's just playing a game here. If they know, if they see him back there, they're going to have to pull back. They're going towards the dragon now, and he's got the flank of flanks at this point.
Summit doesn't have TP, but Care does as well. So he can drop a ward as he's just done. And yeah, okay, never mind. All right, exciting stuff, Mazel, but Clint is still waiting.
Clint's just playing 5D chess right now.
Abel.
Clint is literally just playing 5D chess right now. Abel has no idea, and 3 members of FPX conglomerate around him. He's still not dead, but he goes down in the end, and that kill will be going to the hungry Tom Kench. Abscon Abduct does connect on Aki. They can't take him down. That tankiness is starting to come through for OMG.
I thought that play would be nothing. I thought Clint was like, I'm too late, never mind. But he commits to it. A nice blue ward coming through from LWX spots him out. And now, against the Baroned up team that just pushed in the bottom side, FPX with one pick, sieging the inhibitor.
They have the Keeper's Verdict out. Care kicks out Cream. They're trying to get the inhib tower. Is this where they maybe bite off a little bit more than they can chew? If they do go for that inhib, they don't have any minions any longer. Now to back away, but that's what you love to see in terms of responses from FPX. Cream! He's just going in. There's 3 members right there of FPX. He does have the mobility of the Akali, though, and we'll have to back and get a reset after that one.
Anyone who walks into them, anyone who walks into FPX pays the iron price. That's what I'm concerned about right now. Abel, we see it here as we go back, and yeah, Clid's back alley here, right? This guy, he's in
Agent man. That's all I got going in my head.
Dude, I was thinking more Kerning City, a bit of Maple Stories.
Okay, well, hey.
Look, Abel survived for a long time, and props to him. Like, a lot of healing here with, I think, the BT coming through, but Cleared commits to the play, denies the Gale Force, everything in the kitchen sink used by FPX, but it means that they're able to siege up, break down in a turret, and do some damage to the inhibitor turret. So, still there on gold. And I'm kind of worried about OMG because Mazel, even though they've got Soul coming up in 3 minutes, I feel like we've kind of seen how FPX plan to play out this late game, which is with picks before objectives, set up through Quid or Care, and their global access through LWX and Summit's ultis are making it so it doesn't matter if they're not in position, right? They can come after the fact, they can be further away. It just matters about the execution for the start of that pick.
And I just look at Abel, and I just got to wonder the stresses, the amount of pressure on his shoulders right now. We set him up as now like a main carry of OMG, how they've been finding win conditions. You've got the wild growth, the Keeper's Verdict, everything to peel. But one decisive kick from Clid makes the difference. Oh my God, LWX. Cream makes the decision, and no longer do FPX have an ADC.
What a call on the bluff! Marcel, that was insane, and then actually not stopping now. Blast Cone going to be taken, but OMG, the only thing about that play is there's no timer available. 40 seconds as Care's still trying to run away.
He's going to try to make it out. Does have a little bit of mobility there and walking towards the bottom side of the map. OMG realized they can't chase him any longer.
30 seconds still Baron. Now, LWX will be available, and he didn't burn a summoner, but that's the turnaround. That's why I was saying Akali against FPX. Feels so nice, but you're at this point of the game where you're not expecting to get one shot. Well, you should be, but maybe
I want to see this
trigger, right? Like, oh, I have hung. He's not going to go in.
He had to devour.
Cream.
Well.
Or Abel's damage too.
Oh, it's the caliber plus, Hog just had no idea.
Dude.
Oh, he devoured Summit too. It got knocked back with him. That's pretty funny.
I mean, that's really, that's a hard reaction to make, right? And that's what Tom Kench has to deal with. Either use it towards the start of the fight or the burst potential from Cream. Hell, even Abel at this point with 4 items, Infinity Edge mainly is what I'm scared about. And LWX, he can rely on the Tom Kench, but there's so many other tools that they have to be worried about, Mazel. And with a minute towards Dragon, now we know what Cream can do here. 4-item Akali. I'll be watching him again because all summoners available apart from the Ignite, and FPX want to set themselves up with Poke before it begins. And with a pick, this is what I said needs to happen.
If Abel goes up just a little bit too far, he's right in the picking area. Caper's verdict comes out from Care as a stolen ultimate. But this is the thing about this setup. OMG feel confident now as they're moving forward. Cream has the flank. Klid is nowhere near this fight. So it's a 4v5, and it's going in favor of FPX here. Cream is doing some serious work. Dawning Shadow on the back end, though. FPX get out with 3, but they lose 2 crucial members.
Tom Kench can't save you. There's so much access of utility from OMG. Is FPX still waiting here for a
Why are they doing this? They're just taking a 3v5.
Yeah.
They're trying to get onto Abel, but they're just taken down one by one. This is easy pickings for OMG. As they say, hey, you want to give us some food? We'll gladly eat.
Oh, man. Okay, FPX obviously just thinking they're still feeling it. It was a 3v5.
They're just like, yep, let's do it.
Let's do it anyway.
Have you ever seen the other guys, the aim for the bushes? That's kind of what I was feeling right there. Oh no, LWX.
Bye,
oh
LWX.
no.
Yeah, Cream is having an Akali game again. Good to see him come out of his shell, Mazel. Like this has been a long time coming, this split.
It absolutely has. We put so much about the early conversation in, like, where is Cream? How is Cream showing up? Him and the combo of Abel are making this game happen right now. They are the damage dealers, the picks from Cream, the oppression that he's been able to put down just by showing up in these fights. It's been incredible.
I mean, this is why I favored OMG's comp from the start. The room to play in a 5v5. I've already talked it to death about the tools they can use on this Tom Kench, on anyone he partners up with. But at this point, OMG, even without that goal lead, I'd be favoring them at this point in the game. We've hit Gwen, we've hit Akali against a team who, you know, can't just take out these flat 5-on-5s without some set out, without setting up the pick as well. Now against Ocean Soul too. OMG gearing up for a game number 3, Mazel, and Klid trying to stop that.
He tries to find ammo. He's so tanky. The Wild Growth and FPX are just completely turned around on. And we said at the beginning of the day how the turntables, well, they're turning today, and OMG are pulling it back after a desperate game number 1. In terms of FPX destroying them, the gauntlet was thrown down. Cream picks up the Akali. He shows up, and OMG, they make it a series.
And about time, Cream. Like, this has been a long time coming, this split. Back in the spotlight. We didn't talk much about Abel and Jerry that game, apart from, you know, Abel getting caught out or maybe Abel's damage. But it was about the mid laner. It was also about Aki here on this Poppy. A beautiful mid-jungle 2v2. But I think the biggest thing for me is that Aki's early game made that on the Poppy. The fact that Klid couldn't get into any of the lanes, really continue accelerating Care on his Silas. Hell, even Summit, who was having a good laning phase on the GP, but, you know, not as good as the first game. A different matchup, of course, but still not as comfortable within the lane. I feel like FPX had a really good read in how they wanted to pick apart the pieces of OMG, but didn't actually get the tools necessary early on and couldn't actually play more global because the Dragon stacking came through and OMG continued to use his Akali so well.
Did you see those health bars at the end, man? Like, nobody was getting one shot at that point. Even with like the follow-up that we were seeing in terms of the wild growths and the keeper's verdicts available, like the peel was huge. And I was setting up, you know, for Klid to find that one magical pick onto Abel. It came that one time, didn't come any other time, and OMG just used their sustain and their peel power to stop it in its tracks every time FPX were trying to fight for it.
Yeah, and like, you know, props still go to FPX, but like I think coming through from the draft, we saw first pick Silas. Now, you know, I've looked at LPL and we are seeing more of this champion prioritized, but when we're also seeing Poppy come into the scene, when we saw Cream willing to take the match up too, like, you kind of got that OMG vibe that they've been giving, even against the like of top esports, the reason they went to game number 3. These pockets come out, these unique champions that are quickly becoming their identity. Maybe Poppy not one, but I'd definitely say Cream's Akali, enabling him for success. It's just been brilliant to watch, and I feel like moving to some of these side lanes has been pretty key to the victory here in both these games, Mazel. Like, you know, Care did it on Akali in game 1, and Cream was on top of these objectives for game 2 as well.
And I'll just say a quick caveat on OMG. We talk about JDG and their, you know, willingness, I guess the word is, to go to 3 games. OMG are actually maybe not the same like crazy, wonderful record that JDG have, but they themselves have played a lot of full best of 3s